Remember that they're changing my voice. So Baal is the ignorant beast, right? He stoops low, he bows down. Well, Jeremiah was getting at Nebo, who Nebuchadnezzar is named after, and Baal. And so when we look at the mark of the beast, we have to consider what is the opposite of Proverbs 8, which is one of my favorite chapters in the Bible. The Bible is by Baal. However, there's still stuff in there that's put there to kind of draw you in, and then they kind of set you up by trying to get you to discuss things in terms of the Bible, because it's very difficult to do so, especially early on, right? The word rape is like the word ripe. The word mark is like the word marry. And marks in school, right? Talents, right? And mark is a root term, as is merc for the pagan deity Mercury, who's a deity of boundaries and trades and merchants, right? You can't buy or sell unless you accept pagan culture. Okay. So when we look at Proverbs 8, we see that it talks about wisdom calling out at the beginning. And then wisdom walks in the way of righteousness along the paths of justice. I used to quote Proverbs 8:20 all the time. I walk in the way of righteousness along the paths of justice. It also discusses a little bit before that, if I'm not mistaken, that by wisdom, kings and princes, right? Those who are really divine kings. Not anybody who's in the public sphere, right? Not anyone you know is a king except for me. My father, there's something to be said about him. He's blameless. They're actually persecuting him too for no reason, right? He's an old man and they fume him and so on and so forth. Made it so he had to get a back surgery and he's not doing too well right now. And I'm not moved in the slightest because I'm God's son, right? I'm not going to be moved by death. I've lost family over the course of this. I've been persecuted. They've caused hardship to my friends for good measure, to get them to be desperate and to turn from me, and things of that nature. But wisdom is calling out, saying, what is the wise thing to do? Is it to obey the devil? That's stupid. Is it not even more dumb in a life that's short? After the devil and the followers of the devil, the governing class, the managerial class, they've caused so much harm to you and your people. And they're mocking the most righteous person that ever lived at the same time. While the masses of attractive females and children are being sexually abused. On several sites that are considered valid sources, including the CDC, you see it says 1 in 4. At one point it said 1 in 4 little girls is sexually molested before the age of 18, and 1 in 6 little boys. They've been marked for life, if you will, but they can be redeemed if they obey God through me before my flesh dies. Other than that, their parents have failed them. They've been molested and they're going to hell. And then they're in the spirits and cultures of those very people who molest them. They're molested by stepfathers. They might be atheists, agnostics, Muslims, Jews. They're molested in the church by so-called Christians and Catholics. They're molested all over the place by LGBT Buddhists and New Age Buddhists and so on and so forth. In mental health, in foster care, by their foster parents, by the institution's staff, what have you. They then go on to be in the cultures that have mixed together in the spirit of rebellion against God. So wisdom is saying, hey, wisdom was there before the earth existed, before God marked the boundaries naturally for the sun and the moon and the skies and the clouds and the heavens, literally and spiritually speaking, right? The essence of the heavens in the spiritual realm, where the new heavens and the new earth are. And that you must go through life in a way that is wise, which means walking in the way of righteousness, in the way of justice, in the way of universal pinpointed moral precision. Okay, the spirit of universal pinpointed moral precision, which is righteousness, which is the Spirit of God. Righteous is being used in the Bible interchangeably with godly and holy. Walk in the way of holiness, of righteousness, of godliness along the paths of justice. And that requires truth. And truth leads you to universal pinpointed moral precision. How many of you would tell your child that it's okay for them to do something sinful once a week? And it's a sin. That's being a bad parent. You say, what about once a month? No. How about never? Never, ever, ever. That's pinpointed. Not closer than the guy who says every moment, but pinpointed. So a key part, a key takeaway from this video, and I suggest you watch it several times if you're confused, is that God marked the heavens and the earth, the boundaries in the spiritual realm, the message, the pattern in nature, the message. Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of God, and God put them there in a certain way, with a certain boundary, with a certain methodology, with a certain formula, with a certain intention, with a certain message. And they're communicating to you like a beautiful woman, like a flower, like a sunrise, like a sunset, like a tree that's being hit by the sun right before it goes down, or right when it comes up, or during the day. There's communication there. It's telling you something. It's triggering something in your being. And the devil wants you to mess up your brain with substances and to be reckless and stupid so that you miss the message. So you're blinded to the image of God's message, especially in me. That's why they've changed the sound of my voice and my speech patterns and the way I look in my videos and in images. How long did it take them after social media became popular before they started covertly editing images and videos? Didn't take them very long. In fact, the very devices that you've used historically, the webcams back in the day, the slower processors, they considered the social effect that these things would have. They considered it for marketing. They considered it for social control, for governance, what have you. And their intention was malicious because they're covetous. They're petty because they're evil. And they've accepted the boundaries of being an evil person, cheating me out of my right to lead. Thank you.